Toronto Blue Jays are in the running for a new manager. Does that mean John Schneider will be back with the team next season? All that and much more coming up on Jays Digest. What's up, Jays fans? I'm your host, Peter Briones, alongside Nick Goss, and we got a little bit more news coming out of Jays land today. A bit of a shock considering what was said in Ross Atkins' post-season conference, whatever you want to call it. He said it's going to be really hard to find better than John Schneider, and I tend to agree with him in that sense. But the Jays are interested in Philadelphia Phillies hitting coach Kevin Long, who's never been a manager in the major leagues, but the Phillies just punched their ticket to the NLCS.
Yeah, the Phillies are doing some crazy things, so shout out to them. They're a really fun team to watch. The whole baseball playoffs has been just weird, but pop up the report here. This came out yesterday, October 15th, at night. Mark Feinsand, he's a reliable reporter, and he says there's buzz within the industry. Phillies hitting coach Kevin Long is emerging as a potential managerial candidate for at least one of the five openings: Royals, the Sox, Marlins, Blue Jays, and Rangers. So that is when I saw our name there, I was taken back a little bit, but I mean
Mm.
Ross did say, and we discussed in one of our videos that Ross did say it's not confirmed that John's coming back. They still have to go through the process. So uh, Kevin Long, I don't know. Obviously there's four other teams there. So are the chances high? I don't know, but it's definitely an interesting report.
I'm not familiar with Kevin Long, but I know that he is the hitting coach on the Phillies and has been credited with helping out a few of his players over the course of the season. But that's what a hitting coach is supposed to do. He's supposed to get you out of a funk, tell you what you're doing wrong. Uh, I don't know. We'll get into the move more as it goes along. But what really stood out to me was when that report came out. Jamie Campbell, the Blue Jays Central reporter, he was like, he retweeted it and he quote tweeted it, and he was like, Blue Jays
Yeah,
question mark,
I
and that stood out to me.
yeah, I that's how I saw the actual tweet. Now I'm sure I
Hmm.
would have seen it anyways, but I saw Jamie Camp. Yeah, he said that, and I was like, I was confused, and I didn't think that. I don't know. I just didn't think a report like this would surface to any degree. However, maybe that's just Mark saying that since we do have an opening, that's one of the. I don't know. It's just weird he threw our name in there, so that was interesting. And I guess touching up on Kevin Long here, this was a part of the article that was written, and I just took a little piece of it that I found kind of interesting. And it's that should Long be hired away after the postseason, his impact in the current roster wouldn't leave with him. Long's input to the front office is a significant reason why the Phillies traded for Brandon Marsh in August. And obviously, Brandon Marsh is a huge part of their playoff run right now. And that was weird. It was weird for me to see that. I didn't know that. I guess a hitting coach had that much impact on a potential trade move, but I don't
Hmm.
know. It stood out to me. And Brandon Marsh is good, so maybe Kevin Long could be a potentially a good fit. I don't know.
How much is this like more of a smokescreen as opposed to like an actual rumor? Is it just the Blue Jays doing their due diligence, or is there some weight behind the rumor? Who knows?
Yeah, yeah, that's the question. The reporter itself is obviously trustworthy. It's just I don't know. No one knows really, like what whether he's saying that the Jays are going for him or if they've just checked in. Either way, though, the fact that our name was brought up means I'm sure Ross Atkins probably has some sort of maybe a beginning conversation internally or whatever that is, but I don't know. I'm sure we'll hear more. Obviously, we definitely hear more about the our manager spot over the offseason. It's going to be like a continued topic as the months go on. So it's definitely an interesting way to start the talks.
Well, let's focus on John Schneider right now. We'll look at what he did for his 3 months or three and a
Yep.
half months, whatever you want to call it, for the Blue Jays. He actually took over against the Phillies, which is kind of ironic. It was a two-game set at home. Charlie Montoyo got to manage his last Blue Jays game at home, and then the next day he was fired after a win, which I found kind of weird. But I'm sure they just want to give him a home game and give him an actual like send off and peace of mind. And then John Schneider took over the next day. So when he took over, the Blue Jays were 4 games over 500, 46 and 42, which seems like so long ago.
Man.
I can't believe they were 4 games over 500.
Yeah. That's Even you saying that then is just it's crazy. I remember like the day it happened. I remember the series leading up to that, and just thinking like something has to change. And obviously it was a good decision to get rid of Charlie. I like Charlie, but eh, we needed change. And yeah, Schneider
Wasn't
was
the guy.
no, exactly. He was a guy for a rebuild. He wasn't the guy to take us there. And is John Schneider that guy? I don't know. Um, Definitely more so than Charlie was. But like you said, Schneider has been great. Like overall, he had a phenomenal. You couldn't really ask for a much better second half, or I guess from when Charlie
Yeah.
dipped out. And I don't know. John, that one bullpen move. If that hadn't happened in game two, I think everyone would be thinking a bit differently about him.
I know, I understand what you're saying, but you can't judge his entire
I
Blue
know.
Jays career on that one game. You
Yeah.
you just can't do it. And we saw what the Mariners did against the Astros. They got swept, and yeah, they were close in a couple of games, but it just shows you that if the Blue Jays were to advance, they probably didn't have a chance against the Houston Astros. And I don't think John Schneider had the necessary pieces to make a deep playoff run. And that's not on him. That's on Ross Atkins. That's on Mark Shapiro. He did what he had to do. He transformed the way that the team played. He brought a an aggressive mindset to the team. They were utilizing their athleticism. They're not base stealers. They're not super fast, but they're a very athletic team. And John Schneider was putting on hit and runs. He was making them steal bases. He was pushing all the right buttons, and you can't judge him off those two games in the postseason.
Yeah, and I made the hot take on the immediate reaction video. I think I was watching it the other day. I think I said something along the lines of I think he's gonna go. He needs to go, maybe. But that was an in the moment take. I agree.
Yeah,
You can't let that one decision falter. And obviously, the Blue Jays management are not gonna do that. Like Ross Atkins is not just gonna pinpoint that. However, playoffs is really where the money is made for the managers because you can kind of coast in the regular season. Obviously, if you do try with certain people, you have to make moves. But in the playoffs, it's much more micromanaged. But yeah, as a whole, phenomenal. I agree. I love the aggressiveness out of John Snyder. I love how he managed the lineups. He wasn't afraid to make changes, moving Bo down, moving everyone up. And I liked I liked a lot what he did there. But I don't know. It's gonna be wild.
but one thing I will say about John Schneider is that he started off his Blue Jays tenure very aggressive. A lot of hidden runs, a lot of base stealing, and then he kind of went away from that. He kind of got comfortable. I want to see him use that over the course of a full 162 in a playoff game. I want to see him do that all the time because the players clearly they respect him. He's able to have those tough conversations with his star players, like he did with Vladdy, like he did with Bo, not running out singles, not running out doubles,
Yep.
stuff like that. So he's able to have those tough conversations with his star players because he came up with them in the minor leagues. They all basically graduated to the majors together, which is another reason why I think you should keep him around, especially if you keep your core intact.
Yeah, and I was gonna mention the same thing. It seems like the players have a lot more. Now we don't know how much respect they had for Charlie Montoyo, but it seems like they really. And Matt Chapman, right after the loss, came out and talked about how he loved John Snyder and how he, I guess, wants him back and how the clubhouse loves him. So he seems to have a better grip on the clubhouse, and I think that's something that is really hard to do for any manager, really. But yeah, they came up together with most of the young core. So I don't know. I think I'd like to give him a full season and just go from there and see what happens after the full season with some improvements. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a hard decision for them because it's kind of hard to extend a manager for 1 year. He kind of had his tryout, but we'll see
Mhm.
what he do what Ross decides to do.
And I'll agree with you 100%, but I'll also say that if you do hire a guy like Kevin Long, a guy that's a hitting coach that's never been a manager in the major leagues, how are you sold that that guy's going to take you to the promised land? Like that's a lateral move. You go from a guy that had his first season managing in the big leagues to a guy that's never managed in the big leagues. It just doesn't make sense to me. You got to stick with one guy. All this turnover with such a talented roster, you might lose a bit of buy-in.
Yeah, I agree. And like most of the teams in the MLB who have so much like a lot of turnover with managers are bottom feeders anyway. So you got to stick with one. And regarding Kevin Long, I would agree. I cannot see. I mean, I don't think unless they like something about Kevin Long, I don't think they get rid of John Schneider for him. But if another like seasoned veteran manager comes up, maybe they consider it. But the history of hiring seasoned managers like Joe Girardi and stuff has not really worked out for teams very well. So I'd like to see us keep John Snyder and go from there. At least for this season, probably like a 2-year deal or something, and evaluate then, because the team's obviously going to be contending now for a while.
We're not on the inside, and there's a reason for that. We're just making videos here, thinking about what we might see happen, and that's what we do. But I mean, maybe the Blue Jays know something that we don't about Kevin Long. We're not particularly familiar with the guy. He's never been on the Blue Jays radar until now. But like I said earlier in the video, this might just be them doing their due diligence and seeing what John Schneider might take to come back. I don't know.
Yeah, and again, that's all we can really do right now is speculate and I guess provide the reports as they come out. This was again though this one was a bit interesting to me because it's a bit early for all that talk, but yeah, it's all we can do is speculate and continue the videos, and the support's been crazy. So
And it's never too early for you guys to subscribe, and we are on the road to 1K subscribers. So make sure to hit that sub button. Make sure to like, comment on our videos. You guys have been going nuts. You guys have
loving
been viewing these videos like crazy, and it's just been a great ride. These daily uploads. Didn't think we'd come this far in such a short amount of time, but here we are.
yeah, daily uploads will not be stopping. We'll have another one tomorrow, and yeah, just keep letting us know in the comments. Keep having discussions. You guys you're commenting a lot of stuff, and I read everyone. Me and him read everyone, and we reply to as many as we can. So keep up the discussion, and we're gonna have a video tomorrow, and the support's been it's been unreal. So thank you for that. We're gonna keep thanking you at the end of every video until forever.
Every video. And if you're still here, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate it. Peace.